I want to share the end of this story with you. In verse 53, it says, "Then the father realized that this was the very time Jesus had told him, 'Your son will live.' And listen to this. This is what you got to get. It says, and he and his entire household believed in Jesus." When he went home and he told of what had happened, it says his entire household believed in Jesus. It didn't say the friend that he told about at work believed in Jesus. It said his entire household. And if we have to go back and look at the beginning of the story, it says that this was a man of great power, that he had a high job. And when I think about that, that means his butler, his maid, his cowhands, everybody believed in Jesus. His kids, his everybody believed in Jesus, all because this man realized that he had to change what he was doing and start doing something different. I listened to a story earlier in this week about a man who had he had received Christ, and this was just happened in Tennessee, I think, and he had become into a relationship with Christ, and he had a 12-year-old little boy at this time. And the story I was watching was about how the preacher and the dad himself had a chance to baptize this little boy. And when they asked this little boy what weighed on his mind, what led him to this point, he said for 3 years he had been watching his daddy. See, for 12 years he had also been watching his daddy. But for 3 years he had been watching his daddy, and he's seen the change that God had made in his life when that dad decided to start doing something different. And he wanted what his daddy had. He wanted what his daddy had. There's one more story I want to share with you this morning. Where's Devin? Can y'all sing? Step down there. Step down. Step down. Devin and them are going to come sing a song. Sit down. Sit down. As Devin and them come and play a song, I want to share a story, and I will share this story because it impacted my life so much. And if you ain't heard a single thing else I've said this morning, please listen to this. But I heard a story about 3 years ago. It was a story of a mother who every Sunday morning she got ready to go to church. Every Sunday morning she would get up and she would get her clothes ready and she would make breakfast and she would come downstairs and she would ask her husband and her little boy to go to church with her. And every Sunday morning they would turn her down. Because every Sunday morning they had other things to do. But this Sunday morning, the mama came down, and the little boy and the dad were sitting there and they were eating breakfast. And she said, "Jimmy, are you going to go to church with me?" And Jimmy had finally had enough. He'd had all her nagging he could stand. He was tired of hearing it. And he said, "I'll bust hell wide open before I have anything to do with that Jesus deal." And he shoved his plate, and he got up and he walked outside. The mom was sitting there, and she asked her little boy, "What are you going to do?" And the little boy looked at her. And he said, "I'm going wherever Daddy goes." This is Cowboy Church. I'm not going to have an altar call. I'm not going to ask you to come up here. But they're going to play a song. I'm going to ask you to bow your head and close your eyes. Maybe this morning you've never made that decision to accept Christ. Maybe this morning you think of church and going to church. I'm not talking about, I would love to have you here if this is your first time, or if you come here all the time. I would love to have you here every single Sunday morning. But I really don't care if you ever come back. Because you can come to this church for the rest of your life and it will never make an impact. Maybe you've gone to church your whole life. Maybe you've attended church. Maybe you've been to Bible school. Maybe you tried the church thing. I'm not talking about the church thing. I'm talking about a relationship with Jesus Christ. And the ability to know that if you die today, that you would get to spend eternity with Him. The ability to know that there's little boys and little girls that are watching you every single step you take, that would have the ability to come to Christ because of what you did today. You know what being a man is? Being a man is freaking standing up. Standing up and be ready to say, hey, I'm going to change today what the direction my family goes. I'm going to change today where my grandkids, where my kids, where my nieces, where my nephews get to spend eternity, because today I'm going to quit doing what it is that I've been doing, and I'm going to start doing something different. And as we bow our heads and close our eyes, I'm not going to say a prayer. All I'm going to ask you to do. The Bible says if you'll confess with your mouth that Jesus was God's Son, if you'll believe in your heart that He can change you and accept that you'll be saved instantaneously. You don't have to come up here and get on your knees and pray with me. If you want to, I'll be here. If you want to change today, today's the day that you'll know forever that you'll get to spend eternity with heaven. And it don't matter what you've done. It don't matter where you've been. It don't matter how much you've sucked it up so far. It says His grace is sufficient. Maybe today you received Christ. Maybe today you realize that you haven't been being the dad, the uncle, the grandfather that you need to be in your life. Maybe today is the day that you get the chance to say, when I leave from here, I'm going to be changed. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to make sure and make it a point that my kids know where I stand, and I'm not just going to hope they get there, but I'm going to lead them there. Maybe today is the day you get to make that decision. to tell you one more thing I thought about too. You know, I think a lot of times as dads, we take this day to celebrate us, and that's great. I'm not saying we should, but I want you to think about this. What if you flipped it around and you took the day to thank God for just allowing you to be a dad? Just allowing you to have the blessing of your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, or nephews, or a little boy down the street. But I hope today, guys, because I'm telling you right now, we could sit around and we could think about all the things that could change this world, change this country, change this community, change this church. But whether you want to admit it or not, it starts on our backs, on our shoulders. So I encourage you today as you go through the day. Allow today to be the day that you can say that you've changed. And I hope you guys have the most awesome day.
I don't know if you know now. Adrian will be back there.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, kids camp? All right. Huh? Okay. All right. Kids camp, and also, okay, if you're interested in going to Haiti, if you'll just come up to the front after everybody kind of separates and disperses, we got somebody that's going to talk to you about that deal. And then also, if you need to pay your kids' camp deposit, somebody will be in the back to take care of that. You guys have an awesome day.